Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hang out this nerd.
Nerdarchy is Ted.
Do you have NPCs overrunning your D&D game? What's a DM to do? Manage them or murder them?
Jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Alright, so I was reading a Facebook post, and one of the GMs was having a problem with, the original post was having a problem with the fact that the party had too many animal companions or too many NPCs, just too many people running around in the group, and he wanted to thin out the herd and get rid of some of them without just killing everybody off.
So this is a tricky point. In many GMs games, players are allowed to have apprentices, hirelings, hangers on. The only thing besides hirelings that 5th edition really has is like the knight background has a couple hangers on that are they're there to do non-combat-y stuff.
You get retainers, yes.
Retainers, that's the word. So these things can be nice, cool role-playing things when you're in town. It gives the GM someone to come up with a brilliant idea or role-play within the crux of the party without an NPC that he's forcing in or what have you. So there's a lot of useful things. But if all of these things wind up trying to help in combat, it really begins to bog things down.
Now, that being said, even though we said without killing them, if they help in combat, you might just need to kill them.
Well, and that's going to be the first point then. Both you and I believe that you can have things with the party. If they participate in combat, they become a threat. They then become a target.
They're a valid target, yes. If they hang back and kind of don't get into the thick of things, most likely they'll be ignored unless we decide to do something to probably to introduce dramatic tension into the scene. But even then, I feel like we're not really probably going to kill the NPC or do any lasting damage. But we're going to use them as a narrative tool.
Right. But let's suppose that the GM isn't interested in killing them, isn't interested in targeting NPCs, but they're there, and they want to remove them from the party in some way, shape, or form. What are our options?
Well, this has actually happened in your game several times. Hopefully, your players will actually be attached to them and actually want what's good for them, what's best for them. So, in your game, Scott had retainers at one point. He released them from his service because the threats that they were coming up against were too powerful for them. He hired an Aarakocra knight, to basically act like a bodyguard and a shield bearer or whatever. But eventually, it came to the point that the things that we were fighting were just too powerful. He wasn't that effective as a combatant, and he was always in peril.
Yeah, and the party's limited resources to, heal or stabilize. It's like, is this guy really doing what he's paid to do? Is he really, is he affecting, the outcome?
Yeah, or is he effective? But and besides that, he still served that character faithfully the whole time, and he held up his end of the bargain. But it's becoming too dangerous. So I think that's one of the reasons why Scott released him from his service and sent him away. There's been other times like that as well, and sometimes there's other things that just need to be addressed and handled, and maybe the players can't do it themselves. So if they have trusted NPCs or servants, why not send them to do it?
So anytime you want to institute a time crux, there is something going on, and time is of the essence. You can't be in the stables and at the courthouse at the same time, but you need to be. Okay, well, Obsid, my apprentice, is going to be trusted. He can go handle this important message that has to be delivered to this person at this exact time. Meanwhile, I can go to the stable and save the horse that's going to get targeted by whatever. I don't know. I'm just throwing random stuff out there.
Hey, that horse is a princess. Or prince, needs to be protected.
So you can be in both places. So you create situations that are going to force the parties to split, and the NPCs go this way, they can go handle the important task while you go handle the threat. They're safe. You handle both. Yay, great.
Or, what about, giving your players like cool obligations that needs to be taken care of, but maybe they don't want to be doing it themselves. Like running a shop. Maybe they don't want to do the day to day of running a shop, but hey, it's a great job for your apprentice. You come back from adventuring, you teach him. In the meantime, he keeps the place clean, he sells the goods, and you as the GM, you're happy because you've gotten the NPC out of the adventuring party. The player's happy because they're doing something meaningful. When they come back, they can role play with them. They can like, oh, look at all the money I've made selling regions for you, or oh no, we got robbed again, or whatever. You can do
Yeah,
things
the
like this.
NPC is a dirty thief. Oh, we got robbed. Let me break this window, take all the loot.
Yeah, yeah, he's been laundering the whole time, embezzling from the company.
And the other thing, you can easily have, and these NPCs, they're people. They have their own lives. They have their own things. Not every GM wants to institute a love plot, but what happens if, okay, your apprentice has been devoted to you for years, but he's fallen in love with the barmaid or the stable boy, if it's whatever. Now I want to explore this. I want to pursue this. They can choose to leave the party, stay behind, and see whether that relationship can happen. And it could be any dream, any wish. It doesn't have to be a romantic one. You can do all of these kind of things. You
A
know,
familial obligation.
that's where I was going to go next. They could receive a letter from home that their relative has passed away, or they're needed back for insert whatever here, and they're not going to explain to you what it is, and they just, I need to leave, and off they go. Now that could be a later plot hook that the players are drawn into when they're able to deal with it, and it's a way to take them out for now, be able to bring them back later. You can have a lot of fun with it.
You can have them mysteriously vanish and turn them into a plot hook. They could come back later as villains if you wanted to, if you wanted a plot twist. There's definitely some fun things you can go do down that avenue. Or, maybe you're just going places that are too dangerous, and if the players are responsible to the people that they work with, and they bring around with them, they'd probably release them from their service in order to protect them. Or if bad things start happening to followers and NPCs, the other ones might just desert, or they have trouble getting new ones because the word has gotten out that you don't treat people very well.
You don't treat them well, or what you're doing is just too dangerous for the average person who would be for hire.
Oh, and then the other thing is they fulfilled their purpose and they've gotten everything they're going to get out of being around the party and the player character, and they just move on to do their own thing.
Now, if you look at what a typical mercenary might make, if you decide, oh well, I'm going to pay you well, perhaps they're scrimping and saving for something. All right, well, I've now made 200 gold or 2,000 gold, whatever it is. It's like, well, I was doing this for a purpose, and I've made what I wanted to make. I can now go pay off this debt and go be the farmer that I want to do, or I can go be the tailor, whatever it is that they might want. They let you know, all right, I am choosing to end our contract. Thank you.
If you're all caught up on Game of Thrones, this will not be a spoiler, but if you aren't, it might be. So Brom is an excellent example. He starts off working for Tyrion. He works for Tyrion for a long time until he goes to Tyrion. You remember when you said, "Hey, if I'm ever offered more money by someone else to betray you, let you know because you'll double it." Well, I'm letting you know, and you don't have any money right now. And he gets offered a better deal. Then he works for Jamie for a while until like that's not so great for him either, and he kind of backs off from that as well. And then he's offered even more money. Then he comes back. So like Brom is a good example of an NPC that kind of leaves and comes back, leaves and comes back, depending on how it suits him.
And like I want you to make your NPCs memorable. I want the players to get attached to them, And with Brahm being able to yo-yo in and out of a party, like that would be fantastic. It's like, oh well, well, I'm back. This contract didn't work out so well. What are you offering me now? Like you can do that kind of stuff, and make it fun and make it interesting, and that makes your world more alive, more breath breathed into it, because these guys have desires and cares potentially more, or the same as the players that or the characters that your players are playing.
Like a great example is like an animal companion, not beast companion, but just an animal that has been following the party around or they've taken to. Well, he starts disappearing or she starts disappearing for a little while, and then you track them to where they're going and you figure it out, and it's found a mate and it's made it, and now it's having puppies or kittens or
It's got a
whatever.
litter.
It's got a litter. It's having whatever it's having. And now what do you do? Do you try and convince it to go with you and tear it away from the young and its mate, or do you just is it time to say goodbye?
And that could be a cool plot hook, and later you could have that animal come back. Well, maybe somebody's kidnapped his pups, and now you can go find it, and track down the pups, and it's this cool thing, and that animal companion might stay with you for just that brief adventure, but then want to go back to its family. So you have a way to loop that animal back in every so often.
Yeah, so there's always definitely interesting alternatives. There's flat out killing NPCs and companions. There's ways to get their egress into the story, and that's pretty organic, and it's going to be fun for everybody. The question is, what are you guys doing in your games? Do you ever have to take the NPCs out? Do you have a way you do it? Do you just murder them dead? We'd love to hear about it. We got a place for it down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You want some cool homebrew material for your game? You can get that by supporting us over on Patreon.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.